Next, from Springfield, at Democrat Day at the State Fair, we talked to U.S. Senator Dick Durbin on the upcoming elections in Illinois and on the national level. This runs about 5 minutes.
Obviously today, your guys' day here at the fair. We saw the governor and his party here yesterday, today. Let's talk a little bit. I know there's been a lot of concerns. You live here in Springfield. You're from the state. Are you a little concerned with the direction things are going, or do you feel like now that we have a 6-month budget, there's room that people here in the General Assembly can maybe work together, and maybe you can even offer some advice to them?
Some parts of our downstate community, especially university communities, are virtually in recession because of this budget mess. It's time for this governor to step forward and understand this turnaround agenda has been a disaster for Illinois. We need to have a bipartisan, long-term budget so we can put Illinois back on its feet.
I know yesterday Congressman Rodney Davis talked about, he mentioned you in quite some length, saying that someone who's been in elected official since he was in 5th grade, since he was a young person, how could he offer advice now, how financially, considering the federal government's at $19 trillion in debt? I mean, does that have any weight, or do you feel like it doesn't matter how long you've been here, you can still offer some advice?
I'll say two things. It was less than 2 years ago that I had a re-election campaign, and I was re-elected. The people of Illinois obviously don't agree with Congressman Rodney Davis, and a lot of other people, even in his own party, don't agree with him. You see, he's publicly endorsed Donald Trump. He sent out a press release and bragged about the fact that he is on Donald Trump's, get this, Agriculture Advisory Committee. Wouldn't you like to be in that meeting with the orange-haired Republican presidential nominee, showing him the difference between an ear of corn and some soybeans? And here is Rodney saying, I'm so proud to be part of Donald Trump's Ag Advisory Committee. That says a lot about his political judgment.
Senator, what is this talk? There's rumors, I'm sure you're aware, that you may be considering a run for governor. What are your...
I've got a great job. I'm happy to have it. I've had it in Washington, trying to help the state of Illinois. The more seniority I have out there, the more I can do for this state. I am not pushing this story. Others are. I'm not.
What about on the federal budget? The debt increased 90% under President Obama. I would add, I think it might have gone up under any president because of the entitlement explosion. Is there any way to get a handle on that, or is there any consensus building in Congress to take a look at entitlements and how to reform them?
Barack Obama inherited the worst economy since the Great Recession, Great Depression. 800,000 people a month were losing their jobs. It is difficult, if not impossible, to deal with a budget deficit when people are losing their jobs and don't have a paycheck, let alone making payments into the Treasury. Having said that, in modern times, there's only been one president of one political party who has generated a surplus in the federal budget. Bill Clinton, Democrat. None of the Republican candidates. So when they start talking about balancing the budget, you got to say to them, the last person who did it was a Clinton. We think the next Clinton has the best chance to do it again.
What about the entitlement? So there 60% or so of the budget is growing on automatic pilot.
It's a serious problem. And let me make it clear. We have a solemn obligation under Social Security to make these payments. And people depend on us when it comes to Medicare. Having said that, there are ways to reduce costs and ways to increase the budget in those agencies to make sure they can meet their obligations. But it is a major challenge. No Republican president has tackled it. We've got to be able to tackle it in the years ahead.
Other people are pushing the governor's story, you say. If drafted, is something that you'd be interested in doing? You know,
beyond draft age when it comes to politics.
I
am beyond draft age. I will make my own decision. My decision is to be United States Senator. I am not going to engage in this speculation at all during this election cycle. We need to focus on this election.
Senator, let me ask you, Hillary Clinton, with the latest charges, allegations of mixing undue influence from the Clinton Foundation, if she's elected president, what would your advice be to her as far as what she should do as far as severing ties with the Clinton Foundation and having some kind of an iron wall in there?
I think the Clintons have said it, but if not, I'll say it. There should be a complete break between Bill and Hillary Clinton and this foundation and its activities. I know for a fact this foundation has done good things around the world, but there needs to be a clear break. So there's no questions asked about future activities.
The former president as well as the Hillary?
I believe so. I feel that way.
What kind of what do you mean by a break? Just because firewalls are one thing, but feelings are, of course, another. You care about your spouse.
Of course he cares. You know, he cares, and they both care about one another. But when it comes to the activities of raising and spending money I really believe that should be a clear break with the Clinton family and this foundation, at least the president and first spouse. Is that what they call him? I think that's it.
One more.
Republicans have spent a lot of money and energy here in Illinois trying to tie your fellow Democrats to Speaker Madigan in trying to unseat Democrats in the legislature. Is that a winning argument? You know, Madigan's not the most popular person around the state. Do you think that will resonate with voters?
Our current governor has brought millions of personal dollars to this effort, his campaign effort. It was a disastrous failure in the primary. Disastrous. I can go through the list, but I'm sure you know it as well as I do. Turns out the quality of the candidates has a lot more to do with success than guilt by association. People want to know who you are and what you stand for. And this notion of branding everyone as being a Chicago machine, they call me a Chicago machine politician. Born in East St. Louis, lived almost 50 years in Springfield, and I'm a Chicago machine politician. It just shows you how empty their argument is.
Let's leave it there.
Thank you.
Senator